my husband and I have always come to Anzac Day, the dawn service, and we've always found that extraordinarily moving. It's moving watching the sun emerge, the sky change, and this building against the skyline. So it holds those connections of war, which of course
for those
never ever happy.
that gave the ultimate sacrifice in the First World War.
We had
and of course,
a very
they're all buried
small
overseas.
population, and if it wasn't your grandfather or your father, your brother,
I was born
or
3 weeks after
your uncle,
my father's oldest
it was the
brother, who
man
was
across
killed
the road or the
in
next door neighbour.
Alexandria.
And so the
my middle
people
name is
needed
Alexandria.
somewhere to come and remember those
I was
that they
told
had
stories
lost.
how my grandmother
So they
and my
queued
aunts
for
were taken
hours
out of the
to
church
give
in
them
East
money
Kew,
to
told
build this
that there was a
beautiful
telegram
shrine.
for them outside, and they were taken out during a church service and shown this telegram saying that Philip had died.
Unlike today,
And so,
Descendants,
yes, we're brought up with these stories. And then, of course, there are all those underlying connections about
family couldn't readily
war, the
visit
fact that my
graves
father
of
would
those
never
that
ever
fell
talk
in the
about.
battlefields of France
And
Turkey.
and yet there was this sadness in the family about Uncle Philip, who my mother had actually first gone out with before she met my father.
So it's a place for so many of those folk where you can go and remember, think. Their grave might be on the other side of the earth. Their mortal bones, their remains might be inaccessible. But that place is the place where they can go to remember
15,
that.
16, 17. And they went thinking it was the greatest adventure. They didn't even know what overseas meant. You know, they came from farms and everything all over the country. And of course they were never seen again. I mean, it's extraordinary.
The shrine acts a bit like a reminder of a set of values from which
the whole
most
understanding
people in society have moved on. And I think,
of
to me, it's a reminder of
death makes
transcendental
life more valuable.
Values,
And I
values which
think
go
that's
beyond
what they're getting from it.
the material culture in which we're all
These young
constantly
people
immersed.
died, and that they've got the opportunity of living. It sits on a hill, and interestingly enough, once you've been inside the shrine and seen it, it's a man-made hill, and it was deliberately done. So
I find it very hard to describe the building.
Right down Swanston Street.
It's like a Greek temple up on the hill, being the monarch of all I survey, and I just sort of look at it as being almost divine.
Are cut in and are going heavenward. And then, of course, you walked up vast numbers of stairs to reach it. And that is indeed another humbling thing. There is something bigger than the individual about it.
I was 22 when I joined up to, I'd be 23 then. I think that entrance is in sort of blood red. And I think that maybe it's the blood of those
and even as
men
you
who died that
enter
they're trying to
into the
represent
entry
there.
courtyard with, lest we forget, blood red on the walls, you know immediately you're in a sacred place.
This area we call a sanctuary. It's a place for peace, for reflection, to remember and put your own thoughts into what you feel when the light crosses the stone. We have people sometimes stand here and
they have a shaft of light shines through the building and onto the crypt and shines on Love House, of Greater Love House now. Remember, that only happens on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. But they do have a reconstruction of that light shining through, and to me it was just so appealing to see that light. It wasn't the real light, but it was a reconstruction of it, and I thought it was just wonderful to see it. And you know, on that crypt you have to, it's below level, and you have to bow your head to read it.
And the rest of that verse is, greater love hath no man that he would give up his life for his friend. And that's what a lot of the diggers did, didn't they? They gave up their life for their mate that was fighting next door to them.
I seem
so,
to...
do you think it's rather lovely?
To be... I don't quite know how to describe it, but I feel that I'm lifted into another plane. I feel as though I'm not there, but I'm looking down. I'm there, but I'm sort of not there. That I'm just sort of looking down on and think about all those men who have given their lives. That yes, it is. It's a place of very quiet reflection.
Now, you all heard of Shangi? Anybody haven't heard of Shangi? You should know about it.
There were still a few of us
In Ballarat.
there was still a bit of beef on us, and the Japanese called us the good-looking boys. Not because we were handsome, but because
There's a
we
monument
had a good bit of work left in us.
to prisoners of war.
By now, Japan was being
This
very heavily
flag
bombed.
was captured by the Australian Army and kept in Shangi prison through the war, away from the Japanese.
They were flying in from China,
And it was hidden from them
and
by
their flight
passing it
path
around
was
for different-
right above
different
our
people,
camp,
and they would hide it. And
a
hide
coal
it in
mining
different
camp
places. So if they got
called
wind of it, when they
Ohama.
went there, they wouldn't find it. It's got
Anyway,
signatures of some of the people
this morning,
who were prisoners.
Bert was standing
Three of
between the
those
two
people
doors, and the most
here
beautiful,
today at the
brilliant
Victorian
white
Shrine of
light appeared, and it seemed to flow in like
Pretty old
stage smoke. Met Bert's body, rolled up his body, met at the top of his head, and formed a silver halo. My first thought was, we've had a direct hit and we're dead, because there's Bert with his halo. And I was always taught at Sunday school that if you saw this bright light, you were in heaven. Bert wasn't a very handsome man, but his face looked beautiful. I thought he was an angel. Then all at once, the vision faded. So we walked outside the eastern door, and we were hit by a wave of hot air. Then we looked up, and just emerging above the horizon was this odd-looking mushroom-shaped cloud. It was a new type of bomb the Americans had just dropped on the nearby city of Hiroshima.